Hi everyone! Today I am going to tell you a story that takes place on one quiet, cozy night, just as a party at home is winding down. Suddenly, the lights go out. At that very moment, the main character, thinking she is looking for a way out of the dark hallway, accidentally ends up in a completely unfamiliar room. But before you get comfortable, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And let me know in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is for you. I love seeing where everyone is joining us from. Alright, get comfy, because we are about to begin. Jessica glanced at her reflection in the large bedroom mirror, smoothing the delicate lace of her ivory lingerie beneath a sheer airy dress. Her long blonde hair cascaded softly around her shoulders, catching the morning light. She turned, admiring her athletic, feminine figure, the gentle curve of her hips, the elegant arch of her back. Her blue eyes sparkled with the thrill of newlywed life, her third-size bust rising gently with each breath. Today, she wanted to feel beautiful. She wanted Jake to notice. Jake, her husband of just 1 week, stepped into the room with that easy, warm smile that had always made her heart beat faster. He was tall, with a runner's build and tousled dark hair, deep brown eyes glowing with tenderness and humor. He paused at the door, his gaze lingering on her, appreciation clear in every line of his face. "Breakfast, Mrs. Harper?" he teased, setting a tray on the nightstand. "Or do we stay in bed all morning?" Jessica laughed softly, the sound bubbling with happiness. The first week of marriage felt like a dream. Lazy mornings, late night talks, hands always reaching for each other. Today, they had friends coming over for a small, informal celebration. The house already buzzed with the promise of laughter and stories. The afternoon brought Jessica's closest friends, Holly and Madison. Holly wore a soft pink summer dress that hugged her slender, graceful figure. Her dark brown hair was pulled into a loose ponytail, framing a heart-shaped face and wide, mischievous brown eyes. Madison arrived in a fitted olive tank top and denim shorts that showcased her toned legs and hourglass shape. Her copper-red hair and green eyes always drew admiring glances. Jake's best friend Tom was there too. Light-haired, fit, with a playful grin and a dimple in his chin. The group felt easy together, slipping into inside jokes and stories from college. Jessica noticed how Tom's eyes sometimes found her, lingering a moment longer than necessary. She told herself it was nothing. Holly, meanwhile, seemed fascinated with Jake, laughing at every joke, her gaze playful but intense. As the evening sun slanted through the windows, they sat on the porch, talking and sipping sweet iced tea. Jessica's heart beat quickly when Jake leaned in and whispered, "You look beautiful tonight." Later, in the privacy of their softly lit bedroom, Jessica felt his hands slide along her bare skin, the touch gentle and electrifying. Jake's lips traced a line from her shoulder to her collarbone. She closed her eyes, losing herself in the tenderness of his embrace, the warmth of his breath. Her body pressed closer to his, skin against skin, the world falling away as they moved together in a slow, intimate rhythm, and every touch spoke of love and promise. Every sigh a shared secret between husband and wife. Afterwards, Jessica lay in his arms, drowsy and content, the last light fading from the window. She wondered if this happiness would last forever, or if something, somewhere, waited to challenge it. But for now, she allowed herself to believe in fairy tales. She did not see the look Tom gave her when she stepped back out into the hallway, nor the thoughtful, lingering glance Holly sent in Jake's direction. Tonight, she was still in love, still safe in the glow of their new beginning. A few days after the gathering, Jessica found herself at the door of an upscale day spa, her two best friends by her side. The air inside was scented with lavender, the soft light and gentle music, promising a day of relaxation. Jessica wore a light blue sundress that fluttered around her toned legs, and beneath it, a matching set of powder blue lace lingerie, her favorite for the way it made her feel both elegant and playful. Holly was in a white blouse, loose but hinting at her petite curves, her dark hair brushed to a shining gloss. Madison's green bikini top peeked out from beneath her tank top, emphasizing her full bust and athletic, rounded hips. Her copper hair gathered in a messy bun. The three settled into a private lounge, wrapped in plush robes. Their laughter filled the room, easy and bright. Yet Jessica felt something different in the air, a certain current of curiosity and mischief. As they sipped fruit-infused water, Madison leaned close, lowering her voice conspiratorially. "So, Mrs. Newlywed, is it everything you dreamed?" Her green eyes sparkled with teasing warmth. Jessica smiled, a faint blush touching her cheeks. "It's wonderful. I mean, it's just us now. Sometimes I can't believe how lucky I am." Holly grinned. "I bet Jake's the lucky one." Her gaze lingered a moment on Jessica's bare legs, then flicked away. "You always did have a way of turning heads." Jessica laughed, but felt the weight of those words. She recalled Tom's gaze the night of the party, the way his eyes seemed to see right through her. It was nothing, she told herself, shaking off the thought. They moved to the pool area, stripping down to their swimwear. Jessica's blue bikini accentuated her slender waist, the gentle curve of her hips, and the subtle roundness of her behind. Holly's white one-piece clung to her small, shapely figure, her legs long and graceful. Madison's forest green bikini showcased her strong, athletic body, wide hips, full bust, her freckles scattered across her creamy skin. The afternoon passed in a blur of laughter, sunlight, and whispered secrets. At one point, a group of young men passed by their appreciative looks obvious. Jessica noticed Holly's flirtatious smile and Madison's playful wave. As the girls lounged by the pool, Jessica found her mind wandering. Images drifted behind her eyelids. A memory of Tom's hand brushing her arm during the party. The thrill in his voice when he'd whispered her name during a game of truth or dare. What would it be like if she allowed herself to feel something more? That night, at home, Jessica lay in bed beside Jake, his steady breathing comforting and familiar. But her thoughts spun with new desires, both exciting and terrifying. She closed her eyes, picturing someone else's hands gliding over her skin. In her imagination, strong fingers traced her waist, dipped under the lace of her panties, brushed the soft curve of her hip. A deep voice, Tom's voice, murmured her name, lips grazing the sensitive spot behind her ear. Her heart pounded as she arched into the imagined touch, feeling the forbidden heat ignite inside her. The fantasy lingered, growing bolder, until she woke with a gasp, breathless and aching for more. The next morning, as she made coffee in the sunlit kitchen, Jessica received a message on her phone. It was from Tom. "Had fun at the party last night. Hope to see you again soon." Jessica hesitated, her finger hovering over the screen. There was nothing overtly wrong with the message, and yet she felt the spark of something more. Later, during a phone call, Madison giggled. "Someone was asking about you at the party." When Jessica pressed her for details, Madison only laughed, refusing to give a name. That evening, Jake organized a casual barbecue in the backyard, inviting Tom and the girls again. Jessica dressed with extra care, fitted white shorts, a soft pink blouse, her hair loose around her shoulders. Her lingerie was pale peach, delicate and sheer, the fabric smooth against her skin. As the friends gathered under strings of twinkling lights, Jessica could feel eyes on her, sometimes Jake's, sometimes Tom's. Sometimes she felt Holly's gaze as well, lingering with curiosity and amusement. The conversation was easy, but the air felt charged. Jake grilled steaks, Tom helped set the table, and the girls prepared a salad in the kitchen. Holly brushed past Jessica, her voice low. "You seem distracted. Everything all right?" Jessica forced a smile. "Just tired, that's all." But inside, she was restless. Something inside her had awakened, a spark that would not go out. She could not name it, but she could feel it building, waiting for the moment when desire would become something more than just a dream. The week rushed by in a swirl of routine, but Jessica's mind kept drifting back to fleeting moments. Tom's message, the glances across the table, the slight electricity she felt whenever he was near. She tried to ignore it, to focus on Jake, to remind herself how much she wanted this marriage, this new life. But something in her had shifted. On Saturday night, Jake decided to throw a small party to celebrate their first week of marriage. "Nothing fancy, just a little fun," he said, grinning, as he set out drinks and snacks. Jessica spent extra time getting ready. She chose a short form-fitting black skirt that accentuated her long, toned legs, paired with a silky, deep blue camisole that hinted at the soft curves beneath. Underneath, she wore a midnight blue lace bra and matching panties, the fabric delicate and cool against her skin. Her blonde hair tumbled in waves around her face, and a touch of shimmer on her lips gave her a radiant, playful air. The guests arrived one by one. Holly in a crimson wrap dress, her petite figure graceful and refined. Madison in a high-waisted skirt and emerald crop top, her curves bold and unapologetic. Tom in dark jeans and a fitted white shirt, his smile just a little too confident. There were a few other friends. Mark, the cheerful neighbor with sandy hair and a booming laugh. Lena, a brunette with clever eyes. And Nick, Jake's college friend, always joking and a bit wild. Music pulsed through the living room, mingling with laughter and the clinking of glasses. Jessica found herself caught in the flow of the night, dancing, spinning, joking with friends. She felt free, almost dizzy with energy. When she danced with Jake, his hands on her waist made her feel safe, but her thoughts sometimes wandered. She caught Tom's gaze more than once, and each time she felt a tingle at the base of her spine. After a while, the group drifted to the backyard for air. Fairy lights glimmered above, painting the night in gold. Tom approached Jessica with a crooked smile. "Care for a dance?" he asked quietly. She hesitated for only a second before nodding, letting him lead her onto the makeshift dance floor. The music was slow and pulsing. Tom's hand settled lightly on her lower back, his fingers brushing the soft fabric of her blouse, warm and steady. They moved together, steps slow and careful. the world narrowing to just the two of them. His touch was gentle but sure, fingertips gliding along the line where her top met her skin. Jessica felt her breath quicken, the closeness making her both nervous and excited. Tom's eyes met hers, searching and a little hungry. She felt the heat of his palm on her waist, the brush of his thigh against her own. For a moment, she let herself lean into him, her head spinning with forbidden possibility. A shout of laughter from the others broke the spell. They stepped apart, both a little breathless. Jessica tried to compose herself, returning to Jake's side with a guilty smile. As the night wore on, the party grew looser. More drinks were poured, games were played, and by midnight, a few guests had already slipped away. Jake disappeared into the kitchen to find more snacks. Madison went to help him, and the living room grew quieter. Jessica wandered down the hallway in search of a bathroom, but as she rounded the corner, the lights flickered suddenly, then died completely. The house was plunged into darkness. Only the distant glow of the backyard lights filtering through the curtains. She groped her way forward, heart beating faster, unsure if she was headed in the right direction. Suddenly, a hand caught her arm, firm but gentle. "It's me," Tom whispered. "Are you okay?" Jessica nodded, swallowing hard, her pulse racing. "Just looking for the bathroom," she managed. Tom chuckled softly. "Come with me. I think there's a flashlight in Jake's office." He led her into a small room off the hall, closing the door behind them. The only light came from the street, spilling silvery blue through the window. Tom's face was close. Too close. Jessica felt the tension coil between them, the world holding its breath. In the stillness, Tom reached up, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. His hand lingered, tracing the curve of her jaw. Jessica's breath caught as his thumb brushed her cheek, then her lips. Without thinking, she leaned in, their lips meeting in a slow electric kiss. His other hand slid around her waist, pulling her closer, their bodies pressing together in the dim light. The kiss deepened, growing hungry, his mouth trailing along her neck, sending shivers down her spine. She gasped softly as Tom's fingers found the hem of her skirt, gliding up her thigh, teasing the edge of her lace panties. Every nerve in her body seemed alive. She wanted to stop, to pull away, but desire crashed over her, drowning out her doubts. Suddenly, a voice sounded in the hallway, Jake's, calling her name. Jessica jerked back, heart pounding. Tom stepped away, his eyes wide, breathing hard. She fumbled with the door, stepping out into the dim hallway just as the lights flickered back on. Jake stood at the end of the hall, looking concerned. "Jess? Everything all right?" Jessica forced a smile, smoothing her hair. "Yeah, just lost in the dark." Jake smiled, wrapping his arm around her. "Come back to the party." Jessica glanced back once at Tom, who watched her with a mix of longing and regret. The memory of his touch lingered on her skin, a secret she now carried, one that would not let her go. The morning after the party, Jessica awoke with sunlight pouring over her bed, her heart still fluttering with a confusing mix of guilt and longing. She could still feel the memory of Tom's hands on her body, the taste of his kiss lingering on her lips. Lying beside Jake, his arm draped across her waist, she studied his peaceful face and felt a fresh wave of shame. She promised herself that last night was a mistake, a moment she would never repeat. She tried to slip quietly out of bed, but Jake stirred and pulled her closer. "Morning, beautiful," he murmured, eyes half open. His fingers traced lazy patterns on her side. "Did you have fun last night?" Jessica forced a bright smile. "Of course. It was perfect." She showered and dressed for work, choosing a crisp white blouse that hugged her curves and a black pencil skirt that emphasized her narrow waist and the gentle swell of her hips. Underneath, she wore black lace lingerie, the bra a delicate demi-cup that shaped her third-size bust, the matching panties sitting low on her hips, accentuating her toned, rounded behind. She left her hair loose, the blonde strands shining in the sunlight. As she sipped coffee in the kitchen, her phone buzzed with a new message. She froze as she read the words. "Some secrets are better left in the dark." No name, no number. Jessica's hands trembled as she locked her phone. Was it Tom? Someone else from the party? Had someone seen what happened in the office? Her mind raced through the night's events, replaying every detail, every shadow and whispered word. At work, Jessica tried to focus, but her thoughts kept drifting back to that message. During her lunch break, she stepped outside for air and called Madison. "Mad, did anything weird happen at the party last night? Did you notice anything off?" Madison laughed. "Not really. Well, other than you disappearing for a bit. But I just thought you were fixing your hair or something." Jessica hesitated. "Did anyone seem like they were watching me?" Madison's voice softened. "Jess, is something wrong?" Jessica almost confessed everything, but bit her tongue. "No, just tired, I guess. Maybe I'm being paranoid." Madison sighed. "You're always overthinking. Just enjoy being married, okay? Don't let little things get to you." After work, Jessica returned home to find Jake in the kitchen, chopping vegetables for dinner. He smiled and handed her a glass of wine. "You seem tense. Hard day?" Jessica nodded, grateful for his calm presence. She changed into something comfortable, soft grey leggings and a fitted t-shirt. Her favorite pale pink bralette underneath. Jake's gaze lingered on her as she passed, warm and affectionate. They ate together, the conversation easy and familiar. But Jessica felt the weight of her secret pressing in, making it hard to breathe. She excused herself and went upstairs to their bedroom, seeking solace in the quiet. A few minutes later, Jake joined her. He stood in the doorway, watching her with concern. "You know you can tell me anything, right?" Jessica hesitated, searching his eyes for any sign of suspicion. She managed a small smile. "I know." He crossed the room and sat beside her on the bed, his hand slipping into hers. "You're still my beautiful girl," he whispered, his voice gentle. "Always." He leaned in, kissing her softly, his hands gliding over her waist, up beneath her shirt. Jessica melted into his touch, desperate for comfort and forgiveness. His lips traced the line of her jaw, down her neck, sending shivers along her skin. She felt his hands slide beneath the lace of her bralette, caressing her breasts with a slow, loving tenderness. She pressed closer, her body aching for reassurance. As he laid her back on the bed, their bodies tangled together, she let herself get lost in the familiar rhythm, letting his love drown out her doubts, if only for a while. Afterwards, Jessica lay awake beside Jake, staring at the ceiling. The room was quiet except for the sound of his breathing, steady and slow. Her phone buzzed again. This time, the message was simple. I saw you. A chill ran down Jessica's spine. Someone knew. She tried to recall every detail of the night. The flicker of lights, the voices in the hallway, the shadows in the office. Who had been there? Who could have seen them? Madison? Holly? Mark? Lena? Even Nick? The thought made her sick with worry. Was Tom behind the messages, trying to scare her? Or was someone else playing games? She barely slept that night, haunted by questions with no answers. The next day, she met Holly for coffee. Holly was radiant in the pale blue blouse and tight jeans, her petite figure graceful as always. Her dark hair was curled and glossy, her smile quick and knowing. Jessica watched her carefully, searching for any sign of judgment or suspicion. Holly sipped her latte, then leaned forward. You seem distracted lately. Is everything okay with Jake? Jessica hesitated. Of course, just work stuff, you know. But Holly only smiled, her gaze sharp. If you ever need to talk, I'm here. Jessica forced a grateful smile, though inside, she was more confused than ever. As she left the cafe, another message arrived. Secrets never stay buried. Jessica's heart pounded. Whoever was sending these messages, they wanted her to be afraid. But why? And how much did they really know? By evening, she was at home, going through the motions, cooking, laughing at Jake's jokes, pretending everything was normal. But the sense of unease was growing. She had to find out who was behind the messages before her secret was exposed to everyone. Jessica stared at her reflection in the bathroom mirror, her blue eyes dark with worry. For the first time, she was truly afraid. Not of what she had done, but of what was coming next. Jessica woke after a restless night, shadows under her eyes and a knot in her stomach. The anonymous messages haunted her every thought, making it impossible to focus on work or even to enjoy a quiet morning with Jake. His kisses felt more searching, his hugs tighter, as if he sensed something was off. She longed to unburden herself, but fear kept her silent. By midday, she received another message, more direct than the rest. If you do not tell him, I will. Panic seized her. She scrolled through her contacts, stopping at Madison's name. Without thinking, she dialed. Hey, Mad, can we meet? I really need to talk. Madison's voice was instantly reassuring. Of course. Coffee shop in 30 minutes? Jessica arrived early, nerves raw. She chose a table in the corner, away from prying eyes. Madison swept in moments later, vibrant as always in skinny jeans, a dark red bra visible beneath her white blouse, and a fitted leather jacket. Her hair was gathered in a messy ponytail, her athletic figure as striking as ever. Jessica tried to hide her trembling hands as she spoke. Someone's been sending me messages about the party, about something I did. Madison's eyes widened. What are you talking about? Jess, you're scaring me. Jessica lowered her voice, staring into her coffee. I made a mistake. With Tom. When the lights went out, someone saw us. Someone knows. Madison was silent for a moment, shock written across her face. Then she reached for Jessica's hand. Jess, are you sure it was Tom? And not... Jessica flinched, I know who it was, Madison. Madison shook her head, biting her lip. This is bad. Have you told Jake? Jessica felt tears prick her eyes. How can I? It would destroy him. And what if the messages do not stop? Madison looked down at her phone, then hesitated. Jess, I need to show you something, but promise you will not freak out. She unlocked her phone and handed it over. On the screen was a blurred photo of Jessica and Tom in the dim light. Their faces inches apart, her hand on his chest, his hand at her waist. The image was grainy, but unmistakable. Jessica's blood ran cold. Where did you get this? Madison's voice shook. Someone sent it to me this morning. No name, just the photo. I thought maybe it was a prank, but now... Jessica buried her face in her hands. What am I going to do? Madison hugged her across the table. I will help you. We'll figure it out. But Jessica's mind raced. Who else had received the photo? How long before it made its way to Jake? That evening, back at home, Jessica tried to act normal. But every time Jake looked at her, guilt twisted in her chest. She found herself snapping at small things, turning away from his affection. At dinner, Jake finally put down his fork and watched her closely. Jess, talk to me. Please. You're not yourself. She couldn't stand it any longer. Tears spilled down her cheeks. Jake, I need to tell you something, and I need you to listen. He reached for her hand. Whatever it is, we will get through it. She looked into his eyes and saw only love, and that made her confession hurt even more. Something happened at the party. When the lights went out, Tom and I... It was a mistake, Jake. I'm so sorry. For a moment, Jake said nothing. Then his face hardened, eyes dark with pain. Did you sleep with him? Jessica shook her head frantically. No, but we kissed. It went too far, but I stopped. I swear, Jake. He stood abruptly, running a hand through his hair. I trusted you, Jess. We are married. How could you? Jessica sobbed, reaching for him, but he pulled away. Please, Jake. It was a mistake. I did not mean... Did you want it? He demanded, voice rough. Did you want him? She shook her head, but inside she could not deny that a part of her had wanted the thrill, the attention. She was silent, and the silence hurt more than any words. Jake stormed out of the room, slamming the door behind him. Jessica collapsed onto the couch, her whole body shaking. After a while, she heard a gentle knock. It was Holly, who had let herself in through the back door. Holly sat beside her, pulling her into a tight embrace. I heard you too. I am sorry, Jess. Jessica wept into her friend's shoulder. I ruined everything. Holly shook her head. No, people make mistakes. What matters is what you do now. Jessica pulled away, looking at her friend. Holly's petite frame and gentle brown eyes were full of kindness. What if he never forgives me? Then you try to forgive yourself, and you learn. We are all human. Later that night, after a long silence, Jake returned. He sat on the edge of the bed, not touching her at first. Jessica crawled to his side, tears streaming down her face. She whispered, I'm sorry, over and over. Jake finally turned to her, eyes red. He kissed her, not gently, but desperately, his hands gripping her waist. Their bodies collided in a storm of pain and need, their clothes falling away as they found comfort in each other. Jessica felt his hands roam her back, his lips pressing urgent kisses along her throat, her chest, her trembling stomach. They clung to each other, not out of joy, but out of longing and the hope for forgiveness, making love as if it could erase the past. Afterwards, they lay side by side in silence, holding hands. The phone buzzed once more. A new message, this time from an unknown number. Now you know how secrets can burn. Jessica shivered. The truth was out, but the consequences were only just beginning. The dawn crept slowly through the curtains, painting pale gold across the bedroom walls. Jessica awoke, curled against Jake, his breath warm and steady beside her. The silence between them was different now, heavier, but not hopeless. Last night had broken something, but it had also begun to mend. They had held each other, not as perfect lovers, but as two imperfect people trying to find their way back. Jessica slipped quietly from bed and wandered downstairs. The world outside was still and quiet, dew shimmering on the lawn. She hugged herself, memories of the past days flashing through her mind. Tom's kiss, the shame and fear, Jake's pain, Madison's shock, the sting of secrets exposed. Her phone sat on the kitchen table, silent for once. The barrage of anonymous messages had stopped. For the first time in days, she did not feel hunted. She poured herself a cup of coffee and stepped out onto the porch, drawing in a deep breath of cool morning air. The past week had changed her. She was not the same girl who had blushed at a compliment or dreamed only of happy ever afters. She was someone who had made mistakes, hurt the person she loved, and survived the storm. Jake joined her outside, standing quietly beside her. He did not reach for her hand, but he stood close enough that their arms brushed. Neither spoke for a long time. Finally, Jessica turned to him, her voice small. I do not know how to say I am sorry enough. Jake watched the horizon, his jaw tense, but his eyes softer than before. You do not have to keep saying it, Jess. I heard you. I believe you when you say it was a mistake. I need time. Jessica nodded, tears slipping quietly down her cheeks. I want to try to fix what I broke. I want us to be honest, even if it hurts. Jake hesitated, then reached for her hand. Me too. We can start again. Maybe slower. Maybe with more truth this time. Jessica let herself hope. For the first time, she realized that forgiveness was not a single moment, but a choice repeated every day. The weekend brought the promise of normalcy. Holly called, inviting them, and a few others, for a picnic at a nearby park. You need a little sunshine, Holly said brightly, and some fresh faces. Jessica agreed, grateful for the chance to be with friends and let laughter fill the cracks left by sorrow. At the park, the air was filled with the scent of grass and barbecue smoke. Holly had arrived first, cheerful in a pale yellow dress, her small frame flitting between the picnic blankets. Madison was next, her hair loose and shining, wearing shorts and a navy tank top that flattered her curves. Tom came too, awkward at first, but with a look of genuine regret in his eyes. He barely spoke to Jessica, and she was relieved. There was a new face as well. Eric, a friend of Tom's, tall and athletic, with sandy hair and a shy smile. He struck up an easy conversation with Madison, making her laugh in a way Jessica had not seen in weeks. For the first time, Jessica noticed that her friends were just as complex, just as flawed as she was. They too carried secrets and regrets, and somehow life went on. As the sun set and the group packed up, Jake squeezed Jessica's hand. "You know," he said softly, "I think we are going to be okay." Jessica smiled, feeling the truth of it settle in her heart. She leaned into him, grateful for the second chance. That night, at home, Jessica lit a single candle in their bedroom. She wore a soft, sheer white slip, her body Yuli appreciated for its strength and softness, her curves a symbol of growth, not just beauty. Jake watched her, his gaze different now, deeper, gentler, more understanding. He pulled her into his arms, pressing a kiss to her forehead. They lay together in the low light, their bodies entwined, the air full of slow, searching touches and whispered promises. Jessica felt every caress as an act of trust, a gift both tender and bold. The rhythm of their lovemaking was slower now, but more honest, full of pauses for laughter, sighs, and new beginnings. She let herself be vulnerable, letting go of shame and fear, and felt Jake do the same. In the afterglow, she realized love was not about perfection, but about trying, again and again, even after you fall. As Jessica drifted to sleep, she thought of the week that had changed everything. She did not know what the future held, but she no longer feared it. She had learned that secrets could burn, but truth could heal. The story was not over, just turning another page. And in the quiet, she finally felt free.